There's a moment when safe isn't enough anymore, when the voice inside gets louder than the fear, when you stop dreaming and start building. These are the voices of those who made the choice, who turned their vision into reality. This is Leap of Faith.
Before we dive into what Ramani is, we want to know who's the man behind Ramani, and where did this all begin? As in when you grow up, how was your education? I think let's start from there and we'll just flow.
Okay.
Kwanza
karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you for taking time on your Saturday to meet with me.
Yeah.
As well, and welcome to our office.
Yeah, great place.
Yeah. Asante.
Yeah.
You said the man behind Ramani. Ramani is started by a team.
Yes.
So I started with my brothers. So
thank you.
I can only give a part. Of our story.
Okay.
Calvin, one of my co-founders.
Yes.
He's more than 50% of the business. He has his story. So I can only give my part. And we recently had our youngest brother Joel join.
Yes.
So he recently joined, but he's a big part of the journey as well.
Okay.
But in terms of my foundation, where it started, how far back do you want to go? How far back?
I think let's say from high school. Yeah, I'll say from high school because I'm very sure that this idea didn't just come out of the blue.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was slowly being cultivated. Yeah, and I'm very sure that what you did in high school had a big impact on what you want to do in uni, and of course the experiences there, and then coming back home.
Yeah. I like that we're starting in high school because I think my personal high school experience was an experience of metamorphosis.
Okay.
Maybe for a lot of people it is. I was a day school kid.
Yes.
And turned into a boarding school kid for high school.
Okay.
I left the country. I went from going to school here in Tanzania to going to school in Kenya, outside of Nakuru, a small little village called Turi.
Yeah, I know Turi.
You know Turi?
Yeah.
No, forget the headlines.
Yeah, no.
The headlines of Turi are a little different from the lived experience.
Yes, lived experience. No, Turi is a great institution.
Yeah. Well, it is great. It is great. My personal experience, moving to first of all, at the time there weren't that many Tanzanians in Turi. It was a lot of Kenyans and Ugandans.
Yes.
And so, for the first time, I was, essentially, we're all sisters and brothers, but I was essentially a minority in my school, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. We all speak English, we all speak in a different way, all come from different backgrounds. So it was my first time experiencing culture shock.
Okay.
Which I would then later experience also in the States, but because I'd gone through this experience as a young person in my teens, it was easier for me to handle. And I went from being a BC student to being an A student in top of my class.
Okay.
In a year.
Wow. Okay.
And I think part of it was the way my parents conducted that transition.
Okay.
And they made it seem like I think we went through so many rituals before I went to Turi, praying together.
Yes.
Your dad gives you a speech, your mom gives you a speech, we're sending you far away, so that, to give you a chance to compete at the highest level.
Yes.
And so when I went to Turi, I think I had a lot more clarity of focus and objective than I had when I was homeschooled.
Yes.
I think that helped me a lot.
Okay.
And I think because I had a lot of the culture shock, I was initially a little ostracized, which I understand. I understand because it was hard for me to fit in. So it made my academics and then later sports achievements my priority, and it allowed me to focus on that. Then suddenly at the end of the year, I'm in the top sets and performing at a high level, and I realized, I can do this. And so Turi was really the first time that I built self-confidence.
Okay.
And built an identity around achievement,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Which has its strengths, but also its shortcomings, its challenges.
Why would you say that?
I think I always thought of myself. I mean, we were talking about even the choice to move back to Tanzania.
Yes.
I always thought of myself as somebody that dances to the beat of his own drum, and in many ways, it's the case. But I think anybody that pursues academic achievement, which I ended up doing, and then pursues career achievement, you have to come to a point where you recognize that you're kind of doing exactly what society wants you to do, exactly what you've been taught to do, what kids are taught to do. And however whatever story you've told yourself to vindicate that, it's not capitulation, but that adherence to social expectation. At some point, you have to be honest and say, okay, these were my choices, but it sort of turns out that these were also the paths that were lit up by your family and a society. And so I think that's probably what I mean by aligning performance with my identity.
Okay.
So that was really the time that I did that. Also, forming my own idea of what success would be.
Yes.
And so defining that at certain schools in a certain place, trying to pick an industry. I knew I wanted to start a company from high school. High school is when I actually decided I wanted to start a company.
Okay.
What kind of company would be a tech company? I wasn't sure, but I was steadfast on that direction. Again, because I think that was where I found refuge early on when I went to high school. The performance, and that just felt like another way of excelling.
Okay. And when you wanted to start the company, were you very sure you wanted to do it in Tanzania, or you just didn't know where?
I didn't know where.
Okay.
I didn't know what kind of company.
Okay.
But I knew that starting a company was something I was eager to do. So I actually started my first startup while I was in college.
Okay.
And yeah, so so my first startup was actually in the US while I was in college.
Okay.
And so Ramani really is my second.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you were looking forward to coming back to Tanzania to set up something. How do you have such a conviction that you actually knew, I'm going back after I don't know how many years already into your college journey?
Yeah, I think people that end up starting businesses, entrepreneurs, we're dreamers.
Yeah.
And I think my first dream was always a dream of being impactful and helping to transform my country.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's something that was ingrained in me, that I saw my parents lived in the US, and my mom lived in the US and moved back. My dad went to school in the UK and moved back. Grandfather has a similar story. And so I was raised with those values.
Yes.
Right? And I just needed to find a way to reconcile my ambition on to start a business and wanting to be a part of the journey of the people, the generation of people that are building Tanzania, building Africa. And so those were always two things that I was trying to reconcile, to bring together.
Yeah.
And so when I got that opportunity after working in the US a little bit and having some savings, and now I kind of knew, because I had already tried a business before.
Yes.
I kind of knew how to do that second phase. I thought that I was ready to unite those two purposes.
It seems to be this notion that when you leave the country and go study abroad, some choose to stay there. Don't you feel that when you have the opportunity to actually be in an environment where the technology is advanced, systems are advanced, but many who have that opportunity out there don't want to come actually back? They don't see how they impact. Is it more a sense of patriotism? Is it?
Yeah. And encourage, man, because it's not an easy thing, giving up a secure job.
Yes.
Right, where you're earning in foreign currency, where you can actually have an impact on your family. So these guys are people that are remitting funds to their family. If their father is building somewhere, they're sending money. If their uncle is sick, they can send money, and it's not a burden to give that up or to set that aside and say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my income and go and take a step to build something back home.
Yes.
It's not easy. And it is, I guess, the concept is faith. So it is a leap of faith. And not everybody has that, has a foundation that allows them to do that. Right. Again, people are depending on them, and they have a lot more riding on that decision than just themselves and their personal well-being or their personal ambitions. And so, first, I don't judge anybody for choosing a more certain path and staying in the West, and choosing to have an impact, maybe from a distance. I understand there are trade-offs there. I think what made it a reasonable step for us, one is that both of our parents are stable.
Okay.
And they have health insurance, they have planned enough, and a lot of that's just luck.
Yes.
So that they don't need our income isn't a part of their calculus for how they're going to live the next 30 years of retirement.
Okay.
And we had an honest conversation about that.
Okay.
With my parents. That's the first thing. So actually, there are safety net. When a lot of the times, for some families, the kids are the sort of safety net for their parents.
Yes.
Right. Which is just how things turn out sometimes. So maybe that's really the first thing, is you have to play with the cards that you're dealt. And we recognized that we had a unique set of cards that allowed us to take a bold bet. Okay. And not everyone is dealt with those cards. So you have to play the game differently. Maybe you have to wait a little longer, build a bigger nest egg, so that we were playing the cards that we were dealt, and we were lucky we were in a point where we could take a big risk, and failure wouldn't impact other people around us. It would just impact us. And we felt that we could get back up. So, that's the first. Yeah. So circumstance is the first. Yes, there's a patriotism there as well, wanting to be part of this. I mean, you could start a company anywhere. Why start one here? It's because being successful here would be much more meaningful. It is more meaningful to us, myself and my brother, than being successful anywhere else. And so, even though it changed the odds, and we can have an honest conversation about the odds of success, the impact that we have, and that we've been able to have, it's what helps us. Something has to get you out of bed in the morning.
Yes.
And that's really what gets us out of bed in the morning. When we raised our Series A, and when our investors flew in and they see our leadership team, and they're like, "Oh wow, you guys have a lot of ladies on your team." And we're like, yeah, we don't even see that in the West, and we're 50-50 for a big part, or everyone's, is Black in our leadership team. Those, not just being able to create jobs and have that, but also to be able to give that example to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That excellence has different forms. That just meant a lot to us, and it's worth its weight in gold. That kind of being able to create that kind of example, in the world. So those are some of the things that drove us. Yeah.
Oh, I like the honesty there. Ramani, man. Congratulations, to the whole team, your brother, and the rest of the team. How do you end up with the concept, Ramani? What took you there? Because I know that it didn't start as Ramani, but it ended up heading towards there.
Yeah. We ask ourselves this question. Yeah. Did we think we were gonna come and be running a credit company? No. And then even the model that we have now, we originate customers, we underwrite them, we match them to a bank, the bank funds them. That was not the concept that we had, in the beginning. We actually moved back without an idea.
Yes. Okay.
In 2019. And I remember saying at that time, I like it this way because I want to solve a problem that's actually there rather than come with some abstract idea of what the country needs and, be stuck trying to build a company that nobody wants. So I came in and, my brother, I came first, then my brother moved back that year. And we said, okay, we're just going to talk to a lot of people. We're going to, iterate and build different MVPs and see what takes off. And so we've gone through a lot of iterations, actually. First as a distribution business, then as a company that sells software to distributors, and then a company that provides software and credit to distributors, which was an 18-month journey getting from point A to point B. And even then, so, we landed on the concept and validated it in January 2021 after a lot of failure. And the way we landed on that concept actually was at Jackie's. You remember Jackie's in
I know Jackie's
Masaki? Yeah. I had managed to befriend the current MD of Chaibora.
Yes.
And he was just incredibly generous with his time. I was trying to pitch him our software, right, to give his distributors so that they could use it and so he could get visibility of where they're selling, right? And he agreed to have some, soup with me at Jackie's. And so we're sitting at Jackie's. I've got my laptop. And I'm trying to pitch this guy. I'm like, okay, you can get national visibility of all your merchants, etc. And the guy's like, drinking his soup, like, not rolling his eyes, but he's kind of heard it before. I think, and he just like, he kind of cut me off and he just told me, hey, man, I'll just be honest, this is probably not going to work. What you're going to charge and what we're looking for is probably not going to work. And so I was a little deflated.
Yes.
And, maybe in another time I would have just, shut off, said, oh, okay, that's unfortunate, and, finished my soup and left. But in that moment, I said, all right, well, let me at least get some feedback on my pitch deck.
Yes. Okay.
So I said, okay, can I walk you through my pitch deck for the business? He's like, sure. So I started going through my pitch deck, and then we reached this slide that has like different ways we could monetize in the future. And one of the ways we wanted to monetize, we were like, oh, we could like give credit in the future, right? And he's like, credit? I was like, yeah. He's like, tell me more about that.
Oh, right.
And I said, oh, well, okay, once you get cash flow data, maybe you can start giving loans to customers. And then he opened up about the challenges that their distributors were facing, getting credit from banks. And it resonated because we had tried to get credit from banks. We even tried to get credit with with collateral in hand. They said no, but we didn't understand that it was a systemic issue, and he opened up the other side, which is if a distributor can't get credit, how does it impact a brand?
Exactly.
And so that's when everything kind of clicked, like, oh, this isn't just a distributor's problem. This is an upstream. This is a brand problem.
Yeah.
And he explained it from the brand's perspective. And we kind of knew it because the customers are distributors. We knew that they needed credit, but the pieces didn't fit until I heard it from an MD's perspective.
Yes.
And he's like, let's talk more about the credit. Okay, so this is in like October. You have to go from that conversation to doing industry research, understanding why banks don't lend to distributors, speaking with other founders globally. So being part of a network is really helpful to validate ideas. And it was interesting, actually, when I spoke to other founders, they were the ones that, I'm thinking about giving these SMBs credit. And then they would repeat back to me what would end up being my pitch.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah, okay, I can understand that. And you charge it like this, and this is the problem you solve. I'm like, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so those relationships, because we're already part of Y Combinator, so we tapped into that network, helped us forge the holistic concept from every stakeholder's perspective, from the distributor's perspective, from the brand's perspective, from the bank's perspective, and then we gave our first loan in January 2021, so a few months after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you've been growing since. I mean, I believe it's 2 partnerships now with the banks. Yeah.
2 official partnerships.
2 official partnerships. How has this really benefit both sides, as you've just mentioned, like the brands and the
The banks,
the distributors.
distributors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have things changed on the ground?
How have they changed?
Yeah, how have they changed? Literally, yeah.
So this the story starts with demographics.
Mhm.
Actually. So I'm going to give you a short history lesson that you didn't ask for. But when I was born, or
Yes.
right before when my parents got married, I believe there were about 25 million Tanzanians.
Yes.
Right? It's 1992,
Mhm.
1993. And today, there are about 67 million.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's massive population growth,
Mhm.
right? Over a really short period of time, over 30 years.
Yeah.
And all those 60 million people, right? Okay, I guess half of them are young, but still they need shelter.
Mhm.
They need energy. They need
Mhm.
light. They need warm food. They need
Mhm.
to move around.
Yeah.
And they need food, right?
Yeah.
And beverages,
Mhm.
Coca-Cola, which is maize, flour, etc. So as the population has grown, the need for everyday essentials has grown,
Yeah.
which has put pressure on producers, brands like Coca-Cola, like Azam, to produce more, but also to distribute more to further to different parts of the country.
Okay.
And the conduit between brands and the market, right, the final retailers, are distributors or these wholesalers, right? All that throughput has to go through that layer. We call it an invisible layer. And so if there's an increased demand here, which is forcing increased production here, unless you basically expand that conduit, or expand that piping, you're still going to have limitations in terms of supply at the other side.
Yeah.
Right. And expanding that conduit means increasing the purchasing power and the storage capacity and the distribution capacity of distributors and wholesalers. And so that's where we come in. So there's this increase in demand, there's this increase in production. How do we get the stuff that we're producing out to market? And so what we found is that these distributors were seeing that there's a larger need for their goods downstream, and they needed liquidity, they needed cash in order to purchase more goods, in order to meet that need. But on the other side, banks who have the source of liquidity didn't have it's actually not the will. What we've come to find is they didn't have the technology infrastructure to be able to meet that need at scale.
Okay.
And so, and I can talk more about that, but what ended up happening was basically banks would try to meet that need and fail. And so brands were forced to meet that need themselves from their own balance sheet, which is giving products out on credit.
Okay.
And so you'll find that a lot of brands actually had credit books. And it's not that, and the reason is because the formal financial sector failed to meet that need.
Okay.
Why did they fail to meet that need? The core of it is that SMB credit is a scale product. And scale products need to be delivered using software.
Okay.
But banks' processes are all manual, and they use pen and paper.
Yeah.
And so what would happen is when they start to serve some SMBs, it works well for 10 customers, maybe for 20 customers, but as they started to scale their network, they started reaching points of failure.
Yeah.
Because one is, the more SMBs you add, because your process is manual, the more people you need to add into your network.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not scalable. So you keep having to hire more and more people in order to serve those SMBs. The second is that each transaction has to go through 2 or 3 departments. Each transaction. For 10 SMBs, it's fine. For 100, you get this backlog. So your customer service, the quality of your customer service goes down. And third, it's actually really hard to enforce controls at scale.
Yeah.
When you have so many customers. And so you'd get these books where there are, large defaults because of employee games and etc. Right? And so the issue was trying to deliver a scale product using manual processes. So what Ramani said is, how do we build what kind of technology infrastructure can we build that allows you to deliver this product, right, without having to stuff it with use a lot of people, right, to deliver this product at scale. And so that's really the gap, and that's the difference. And so that's the layer. And so when banks come and partner with us, that's what they're gaining. They're gaining that technology infrastructure that allows you to manage these distributor networks, and it works, and it's working really well. Yeah, is that clear?
That's quite clear. Yeah, that's quite clear. How is it running the company? I mean, you must have grown less than 5 when you started off. You're what, 70, 90 now?
We're fewer, but okay,
you're
sure.
fewer.
Yeah, we're a bigger company now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Has it been attracting talent, managing that talent? And I know the plan is to eventually, you're thinking Africa, not just Tanzania. How do you guys manage it so far? And how do you see it scaling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question. That's probably been the hardest challenge that we've had.
Okay.
We were close to 100 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them were field agents to go support our customers in the field. And so we did a lot of automation. Again, I talked to you about it needing to be a scaled product. And so we're fewer than that now.
Yeah, exactly.
But getting the right people and then managing them well, but getting the right people has been a really difficult challenge that you've probably heard echoed from other entrepreneurs.
Yes.
What I've come to learn is that, the accountability still has to rest on the founders and the company that's doing the hiring. And we had to do a serious audit of how we identified talent, how we qualified talent, identified the right people for Ramani before they even come in. And interestingly, I think running a credit company teaches you a lot about risk, how to manage risk, and how to mitigate it. And with credit companies, you get punished for bad ideas and rewarded for insights.
Yes, okay.
And so what we learn with credit, and now I apply in the rest of my life, is you can't beat a bad selection.
Okay.
Once you select the wrong company to lend to, right? Once you select the wrong person to hire, there is no management style, there is no culture, there are no perks, there is no feedback that you can give that's going to make that person right.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So everything starts with selection, right? The quality of your business, the quality of the service you provide, everything starts with who you select, who you give that contract to. And so that was an insight that we had to learn. So we have a really, really rigorous selection process now. I mean, we give exams, we do like really deep reference checks, like super really, and I personally do reference checks. We talk to your current employers, before you come into Ramani. Of course, there's the police fingerprinting, and what we found is that it's a more difficult process. But once you select really well, everything else is actually really easy, right? Because once they come in, these are people that align with your values.
Yeah.
They're people that sort of think a certain way. They're people that have performed consistently across different organizations. And so by the time they come to you, it doesn't mean that they'll be successful, but you've put bounds around the type of behavior to expect. You now have bounds in terms of how people respond to adversity, which is one of the toughest challenges when you're running a startup. You bring a superstar, and then startups are really hard. How do they respond to that? And then you create also a higher density of those types of people.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that we've gotten it perfect, but we had to refine our interviewing process and selection process, and that's helped a lot when it comes to managing and leading the team. Okay. So that was the first thing. And I know it's getting a little esoteric. The conversation is getting a little technical.
No.
I can talk about, so that was, okay. So first is selection, but the other is culture.
Yeah.
So my brother and I had to, I think I took sort of the lead on it. I'm taking Swahili classes, to improve my Swahili. And my Swahili classes have really helped me understand, how people think, because you're not just learning the language, you're also learning like methali, kwa mfano, right? These are lessons, that we've all grown up with, right? Kwa mfano, mkubwa akosei. I didn't know that everybody grows up with that saying. I'm not saying everybody believes in it, but that's that's a proverb in the culture.
Yeah.
So is at Ramani, one of our values is challenge to win.
Yeah.
Literally, we write that down. You need to challenge to win. Challenge who? Challenge the leaders. Sasa mtu amekuwa na na mafunzo ya mkubwa akosei, and you come to Ramani and I'm like, I need you to challenge me. I need you to tell, if you don't like this idea, I need you to tell me what's happening on the ground. That I now appreciate much more the I guess the culture shock or the change that people have to go through when they join this organization. When you come from leaders that, they say my way or the highway, to leaders that are like, hey, if I'm wrong here, I need you to raise it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't want to prod you. I don't need to prod you to raise it. You should just always be wanting to give that perspective. So we've had to do a lot of cultural grounding over the last 4 years to help us motivate and understand and learn from the team that we've built.
Yeah.
And so that's been a transition process. And I wish I'd started that sooner. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good thing you said about the Swahili classes, because
I'm telling anyone.
I mean, need to.
Yeah.
I mean, need to.
They're fun.
Struggle with the tenses and proverbs and what have you.
Yeah.
So I hear you.
Yeah.
And how much has you and Calvin's values, priorities, shaped and cultivated the current culture?
I think I think about this a lot, because you would think starting a company is all about how skilled you are maybe in building relationships and solving problems and building tech, but really it's a measure of character.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that if you're not successful, you don't have the right character. But to be successful, you need you need a never say die attitude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because you will reach many points over and over where it is not clear how you will make it. Who your customers are going to be, what problem are you trying to solve? Does this make sense? I'm sacrificing so many other things to stay motivated. But that never say die attitude, that commitment to fight, that's something that Calvin and I think we were raised with. We didn't really know it until our backs were against the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's really one of the true DNA strands of Ramani, right? Of the composition of Ramani.
All right.
This never say die, never say quit attitude, that determination, willing to persevere even when the rest of the world doesn't understand you. Right? Being comfortable with being misunderstood for a period of time.
Yeah.
And that sometimes the rest of the world catches up, right? Being comfortable with very late nights, early mornings, sometimes doubting yourself and your decisions, the constant anxiety, but being committed to seeing what you've started through. I think that's really the cornerstone. I mean, I'll tell you, in 2024, January, we didn't have a bank partner, which is not that long ago. And I remember speaking to one of our investors. I was like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to sign the banks. They're going to commit their money and we're going to manage it. And we're going to lend to distributors and we're going to grow with infinite access to capital. And I remember one of the investors going, okay, Iain, how are you going to do that? I know I lied. I said, I don't know, but I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, what I was asking is for them to just believe that we could pull it off. And usually a lot of people, you know, whenever you ask that, people will say, have you done it before? No, I haven't done it before. Yeah.
This
Right. Is your dad on the board of the bank? No, he's not. So how are you going to do it? Man, I don't know, but I'm going to make it happen. And now on the other side of it, you know, by the way, there's no congratulations. I guess people say congrats, but there's no round of applause. Everyone's like, okay, now what? You know, even when you cross that milestone.
Yeah.
But you can't build this kind of business without that never say die attitude.
Grit. Yeah.
The grit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could have done this on my own. It's too easy to give up. I think the days I'm down, Calvin's up.
Yeah.
You know, the days where he's like, does this make sense? I have the energy to be like, of course it makes sense. Look at these projections. Look at where we can go, etc. Right? Yeah. We can bounce off that energy. We can take energy from each other in those days when things are down. And so that partnership has been really important.
Okay.
And the cornerstone of that is that grit, as you said, that commitment to seeing this through, right? And finding a way. And somehow we've been able. I don't think we haven't crossed where we want to be. Mm-hmm. But even reaching where we are from our starting point is 26, 23-year-old, you know, booking one-way flights to their parents' living room and saying, you know, want to do something significant in our community to where we are now. Mm-hmm. You know, that takes the grit.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Mm-hmm. And I have to bring this up. I know very few sibling partnerships. And I know it's not that common in our community. How have you guys, I mean, a great example, how have you guys been able to complement each other, work towards a common goal, as opposed to, I mean, each of you have your own individual strengths. I mean, it could have been easy for Iain to say, I want to do this. Calvin, I want to pursue this. But you've clearly seen that partnership, common goal, has greater impact, focus. And it actually takes away that element of it's no longer about you. It's about building something that actually benefits the community, but also you have a whole load of people behind you, that depend on you as well. How does that work? How does that work?
I think it starts with mutual respect.
Sure. All
right. For each other's skills.
Okay.
Calvin is a badass engineer. I'm just gonna say how it is, man. And because at some point, you know, you're just sitting there hoping he can build it, you know, and he pulls it off. So, you know, me respecting his skills and the way he does his work is a big part, and I think he feels that. And I think Calvin respects me. At least that's how I feel. And whatever contributions I bring to the table. And we feel that we can be more successful together than apart. I think we both believe that.
Okay.
Once. Really, there are always moments when somebody lazima ajishushe. Somebody has to, you know, you could be the CEO, but man, you know, he's pretty passionate about this point, and I might not agree with it completely. But you know, I respect the person that I'm talking to, and you know, I'm going to take a step back here. And I think Calvin's also been really great in saying, you know what, you know, I might not agree with this step you're taking in, but you know, this is somebody I know is smart and I respect him, so I'm going to take a back seat here. So I think that's really important, not getting too, as you know, as the kids say, lost in the sauce, right? Remembering that, okay, I'm talking to an autonomous human being with self-image and ego, and that's really smart, really gifted, and has chosen to be has to be on this journey with me.
Yeah.
I think keeping that top of mind allows you to manage all the different interactions with a certain dexterity, right?
Yeah.
Because you have that. So a lot of it is just exactly. It's just predicated on respect and understanding that we're dealing with I'm dealing with a leader here,
Yeah.
right? And he's dealing with a leader here, and so I don't need to. I can let him run his domain. He's a baller. And then we have our youngest brother. So
Joel.
There's three brothers.
Yeah.
Right? And he's come in and he's a baller as well. He has a master's. I don't have a master's. Neither does Calvin. So he could tell us, what do you guys know? And so adding him to the mix, you'd think adds complexity, but actually it's created a lot of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, that foundation of I respect you, yes, because you're my brother, but also because you're a baller and a hard worker and determined. I think he's bought into that. And so he's the first one in, last one out, and so he's living those same values. Okay. And so it's not just myself and Calvin. I think it's the family. And I think also we've got a good support system where our parents and extended family, they really want to see us win together.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of encouragement. So those are all the.
I like that. I like that. So eventually, it's like you all trust each other's judgment.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that makes it way easier.
Yeah.
Once something is emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah. That's deep.
Well.
So I want to ask you this. After it's all said and done, what would have all this like been about? Yeah, begins there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's it. That's in decades to come.
Decades.
Yeah. Hopefully we have.
And yeah, I mean that's everything is running, and you're the final curtain calls. Yeah.
There's a quote that says, "The story makes sense when you look back."
Oh yeah.
And so I don't want to say something now, and 20 years from now, 10 years from now, the different pieces click in a different way.
I love the answer, man.
Yeah.
I love the quote.
You know the quote. Yeah. So I can only look back from this vantage, which is a 5-year vantage point. There's the business. There's what we've been able to do with our professional ambitions.
Yeah.
But there's a broader scope, which is the family that we're a part of.
Lovely.
And something that has emerged that I didn't expect when I first moved back.
Okay.
Was that I could now be on the front row, or gain a front row seat to my grandfather's, he's still alive, he's still well, but these last 10 years, watching that transition as he's aged.
Yes.
And I've gotten a lot closer with my grandparents. I visit them really frequently, but I've been able to watch my grandfather after multiple strokes, being chatty to not speaking as much.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to observe how the people around him care for him,
Yeah.
tend to him, and take on responsibilities that, yes, there's cultural expectation, but I think, you can tell, Kwame, there's a lot of love and respect there for this man.
Yeah.
And I can observe this from my family, from myself, and constantly ask yourself, what did this man have to do
Yeah.
for when he doesn't even have to speak, for people to fight for him, fight for his dignity, fight for his well-being when they don't have to.
Mm.
We all meet at my grandparents' place, and he's still the center of attention.
Yeah.
And to see that gives me you also know, maybe, I want to say the final chapter, etc. But you have now, it's, I can see sort of the trajectory. Like, I see a potential endpoint, and I can constantly ask myself, how did this man cultivate such deep love and respect from all these people around him? Right. And I think it's a unique thing. And that's really been the true privilege of being here in this time.
All right.
Seeing that side, and then challenging myself, say, okay, how can I be a great man like he is?
Yeah.
Not in story, but a greatness that's reflected in the way that other people treat me, sacrifice for me, are there for me, my family. When I don't have power, anymore. And I think that's been their true privilege. And I'd say the cornerstone experience of being here the last 5 years. And if you don't come back, that's what you miss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the, that's the irreplaceable,
Yeah. I hear you.
No.
That's deep. Man.
Well,
that's deep, man.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So,
Damn.
Yeah, that's been.
And Iain, man, thank you for your time, man. Damn.
It's been great. Thank
you. As it scanned it, definitely want to sit with you, a year or two from now.
See where it goes.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, now that Joel's joined, things will be different. You got a third eye, and that family bond, definitely means a lot. Means a lot because the ownership aspect is way more different. Than partners who are actually not related. So, man, I appreciate this. I wish you all the best in your leap of faith as it keeps growing. And ongera sana, brother, man. So you take care, and we'll catch up sometime. Man.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
All right, man.
Asante.
Cheers, man.